The cloud who forgot to weep. High above a land painted in the most brilliant greens and blues lived a small, content cloud named Nimbus. Her home was a truly beautiful country where rivers of silver thread stitched together emerald fields and great, ancient forests breathed a gentle mist into the morning air. Nimbus loved her life. She would drift lazily on the summer breezes, chase the swallows as they dipped and soared, and when the land below grew thirsty, she would weep the gentlest of rains, feeling a quiet joy as the flowers turned their faces up to her in thanks. One afternoon, while she was admiring the sparkle of the sun on the great river, she saw it, a cloud unlike any she had ever seen before. It was a colossal giant, a moving mountain in the sky, so vast and magnificent that it cast a shadow over an entire mountain range. A sharp, unfamiliar pang of envy pierced Nimbus's heart. Beside this majestic being, she felt utterly insignificant, a mere wisp of vapor. "I will be like that," she vowed to herself, a strange new hardness forming where her contentment used to be. "I will be the grandest cloud in all the sky. I will not waste a single drop of my water on the ground. I will keep it all for myself and grow bigger than any cloud has ever been." And so Nimbus stopped weeping. When the warm air currents offered up their moisture from the lakes and forests, she greedily drank it in, hoarding every particle. Day by day she grew. Her once light form became dense and heavy, her colour shifting from a cheerful white to a bruised, sullen grey. She swelled with pride as she saw her shadow lengthen across the field she once nurtured. Down below, the land began to change. The great river, no longer replenished by Nimbus's tears, shrank from a lively waterway to a sluggish, muddy ribbon. The verdant meadows faded to a pale, sickly yellow, and the soil, once damp and rich, began to crack and turn to dust. The forest trees, their leaves curling and browning, stood in silent, desperate appeal, their branches like bony fingers reaching towards the sky. The animals were the next to suffer. The bird song that once filled the air fell silent as they flew away in search of greener lands. The deer and the foxes grew gaunt, their desperate search for a drop of dew proving fruitless. The people in the villages looked up at the huge, dark cloud that loomed perpetually overhead, their faces etched with worry. Their wells ran dry and their crops withered in the fields. Nimbus saw their suffering, but she hardened her heart. Their plight was not her concern. Her own greatness was all that mattered. She grew and grew until she was indeed a vast and imposing presence in the sky. But then a strange and frightening thing began to happen. She stopped growing. She tried to draw more moisture from the land below, but there was none to be had. She looked down, truly looked down for the first time in months, and saw not the beautiful, living country of her memory, but a parched and silent wasteland. The rivers were gone, the forests were skeletons, and the fields were a featureless expanse of sun-baked earth. In her selfish quest for size, she had destroyed the very source of her own sustenance.
A terrible fear gripped her. The relentless sun beat down upon her, and the hot, dry air that rose from the desert below offered her no nourishment. Instead, it began to steal from her, sipping away at her stored water, particle by particle. She began to shrink. The immense, powerful form she had been so proud of started to thin and unravel. Her dark, menacing grey faded to a weak, translucent white. She felt herself becoming lighter, more fragile, a ghost of her former self. The pride she had felt was replaced by a hollow, aching regret. Soon she was no bigger than she had been at the very beginning, and still she dwindled. As she felt the last of her essence beginning to dissolve into the vast, empty sky, she finally understood her profound mistake. Her purpose had never been to be the biggest, but to be part of the great, beautiful cycle of giving and receiving. By hoarding her gift, she had not only destroyed a country, but she was destroying herself. Just as she was about to vanish completely, a mere sigh of what she once was, a gentle breeze stirred. It was a zephyr, borne over a distant ocean, and it caught her fragile form, lifting her with a tenderness she did not deserve. The wind carried her away from the barren land she had created, a silent, mournful journey over her own folly. The zephyr carried her for a day and a night until they arrived in a new country. Nimbus, now just a tiny wisp, looked down and saw life. She saw winding rivers, deep blue lakes, and hillsides cloaked in lush, breathing forests. As she drifted over them, she felt the land offering its moisture up to her. Tentatively at first, and then with a deep sense of gratitude, she began to drink it in. She did not hoard it this time. She took only what she needed, and her form slowly returned, not to a bloated giant, but to the modest, healthy cloud she was always meant to be. Having learned the most important lesson of her existence, Nimbus was filled with a desire to give. She gathered the sweet, fresh water until she was full, and then she wept. She wept for her past foolishness and for the beauty of her new home. Her rain fell in a generous, life-giving shower upon the grateful land below. When she had finished and the sun peeked out from behind her, she poured all of her newfound joy into creating the most magnificent rainbow the world had ever seen. It was a bridge of brilliant colour, a promise that she would never forget that her true worth lay not in what she kept, but in what she gave away.